The BBI is not a political process.
When you mention or hear Pan-Africanism, think,
please, let the president take charge of this. No more bloodshed.
Punchline Africa Television. Here, we're all about events.
Why don't we build cottage industries that can employ so many of these younger men? Why do you bring them to dance with the wheelbarrow?
On a 360 degrees overview on what's making news in Kenya and Africa at large.
A partyless DP risks an impeachment.
What's more, facts matter to us. Join us as we give you the daily punch on things that matter to you. Punchline Africa Television for Africa by Africans.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Good morning to you, and thank you for finding time to join us today. This is Good Morning Africa, or rather Good Morning with Dr. David Matsanga, who shall be joining me in a very short bit, but to take us through the rest of the show. But first, we shall start with the newspaper review and find out what is it that the three leading newspapers in Kenya are saying this morning. But before we get into that, let's just bring ourselves up to date with the statistics in line with COVID-19 in Kenya and perhaps South Africa, which is the leading country in the continent in terms of the infections and also the number of deaths, and also I think as well as recoveries. And so thank you so much. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and let's just go along. And Kenya this morning, the confirmed cases stands at 41,937 cases. The death toll is 787. The recoveries right now stands at 31,340 cases. Uganda, the cases right now stands at 9,945. Uganda, they're approaching the 10,000 mark quickly there. And the number of deaths that have been reported in Uganda is 95. And so far out of the 9,945, about 6,347 people have recovered from COVID-19. And South Africa, the total number of confirmed cases is at 694,537. And the death toll in South Africa is 18,028, and recoveries is at 625,574. Also, the recovery rate there in South Africa is quite impressive. And the total cases in Africa this morning is at 1,585,977 cases. And the death toll in the continent stands at 38,305. Recovery so far is at 1,309,774. So that's where we stand this morning, in line with the COVID-19 in Kenya, Uganda, South Africa, as well as the rest of Africa. And of course, the rest of the African countries we shall look at later on our afternoon show. So now let's just get into the headlines this morning, and we start with the Daily Nation. And on the front pages there of the Daily Nation, it says Jubilee ODM plan to lock out rebels. And down there it says, crushing dissent, ruling party's assertion that politicians of questionable integrity and those with corruption cases will not be cleared to contest positions in grassroots elections, and Orange Party's decision to avoid an open contest seen as tactics to put political outfits in the hands of loyalties. And that story is on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. And then just on the side there it says Jubilee. Secretary General Raphael Tuju stressed the party will uphold integrity in its elections, and only those who meet the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity will be cleared to contest, which I might add there in our politics in this country. I think that is one of the chapters that has really been abused and overlooked in our politics here in the country, the Chapter 6 of the Kenyan Constitution. And now the Secretary General of Jubilee Party, Raphael Tuju, saying the next elections, all the people who plan to run using the Jubilee Party ticket must therefore meet the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Kenyan Constitution under leadership and integrity. That will be very interesting to see. And on ODM, for purposes of clarity, this is what ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna is quoted as saying, for purposes of clarity, what we will be doing is harmonization to fill in existing gaps left by those who died or defected. ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna said, dealing a blow to members looking to topple current office bearers. So there it is. As I said there earlier, the story is on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation there. And just on the side there, now police clear route to fundraisers. And it says police in Nyamira have authorized 2 fundraisers to be presided over by Deputy President William Ruto tomorrow and on Friday. The events were postponed last week after police outlawed them, citing lack of compliance to the National Security Advisory Committee's orders. Remember, that is a new order that was put in place, that if you want to have a public event, then you have to notify the police. For obvious reasons, you will require their security, and also just for the authorities in that area that you're going to have this public event, for them to know. So it's just a standard procedure there, and I said tanks working there last week, but now we see those events that had been cancelled because they did not meet these requirements and now have been cleared, and Deputy President will be able to preside over these 2 events in Nyamira. That is tomorrow and also on Friday. And I'm just hoping that perhaps while they do that, can our politicians, can you encourage the Kenyans who will be attending these rallies to please wear their masks? I don't know why Kenyans have become very reluctant. COVID-19 is still here with us. When you look at the death toll, the whole of the continent right now, 38,000 people have died, and Kenya alone is 787. People have lost loved ones due to COVID-19. So I'm just hoping that I don't know if it's too late, that our leaders can do the right thing and can do right by Kenyans. So as you there are talking and attending these events that attract a lot of people, it is just be a responsible person. Be a responsible leader and tell them, as much as you're here, make sure you're safe. Wear your masks. If you can social distance, you do that. But unfortunately, in this event, social distancing is just does not even happen. But perhaps just a mask. Tell them to wear a mask. Don't be like Donald Trump. You saw him holding a rally. He has not recovered from COVID-19. He still had, because his team could not confirm whether he's tested negative or not, meaning he's still COVID-19 positive, but he still goes ahead and holds rallies, and he has the die-hard supporters coming out there and supporting him and attending these rallies without even a mask, and oblivious of the dangers this might pose to their own health. So I think that should have been one of the measurements of the requirements by this National Security Advisory Committee, because COVID-19 is a matter of national security. So I think one of the requirements there we must have forgotten is, if you are attending, as much as you've notified the police and the authority in that area that you're going to do that. Also, another thing, make sure you have a mask, and the people that are coming with you, they have a mask, and the people who are attending there, ask them to have a mask. That is a responsible thing to do as a leader. All right. So there you go. And then down there, we see dropouts, thousands of children miss school. Still on the front pages there of the Daily Nation, thousands of learners countrywide have failed to resume studies after a 7-month break, raising fears of mass dropouts. Education officials and administrators say some girls are either pregnant or were married off during the COVID-19 long break. Boys are involved in various forms of labor as others marry or undergo cultural rites of passage. I think that is quite worrying, and I saw yesterday the administration around Baringo, because we've seen a lot of schools that have been affected, especially the schools around the shores of Lake Baringo there. So the schools are still flooded, and the schools that have been able to open, students have not really resumed back their studies for the standard for grade 4 and the class 8 students, and also from 4. So I saw there a notice being given that every chief in the locality, you must ensure, the local administration must ensure they look for these children and, make sure they go back to school, which I think is a good thing, because we know that education, and especially President Uhuru Kenyatta under his leadership, he's all out, and he said he wants 100% transition. And he also said earlier, a couple of months ago, it does not matter whether this girl is pregnant or not, because a lot of times schools turn away such girls. They need to go back to school and continue the education. If they need some break to go have the baby and come back, then that should be the case. Because if you chase them away, like the case in Tanzania, as President Magufuli said there, two wrongs cannot make a right. So as much as they erred in that way, then we cannot deny them their right to have education, which I think is a good thing. So the local administration there has been tasked with the responsibility of looking out for these children, both boys and girls, and make sure they go back to school, which is a good thing. All right, for a brighter future, and just for, just to make them at least have something to be hopeful. Education is very important, so it should be encouraged regardless. So on the front pages of the Standard newspaper this morning revealed a push to reconcile Uhuru and Ruto. And remember, our topic of the day that we shall be looking at when Dr. Matsanga joins is, what kind of reconciliation does one want? So I think this will fall under that. So let's just look at this headline, even as we wait for Dr. Matsanga and the rest of the panelists to join. A team of religious leaders, politicians and business people is working around the clock to ease tensions between President and his deputy. The mediators have held separate meetings with the pair and their closest advisors with an eye on another handshake. Hold on, we have to go through this. That is on page 5 of the Standard newspaper, and I think we've had religious leaders coming out before and saying, we are offering ourselves to be mediators. We need to find a truce between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto and find out what is the problem. So they were offering themselves to mediate. So let's see how far perhaps these efforts have gone. And the story is on page 5 of the Standard newspaper. I'll just read a bit of it to help us understand the context of this headline. Now, a flurry of activities have characterized attempts by bishops and senior politicians to reconcile President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto. The Standard has learned that there have been strategy meetings attended by representatives of the two leaders. The relationship between Kenyatta and Ruto has grown sour over time. Last week, the National Security Advisory Council issued fresh security measures which have since slowed down Ruto's political activities. Now, 2 Catholic clerics are leading the quiet push, which in their estimation should lead to a handshake similar to one between Kenyatta and the ODM leader Raila Odinga in 2018. A bishop who was reluctant to be quoted said there was progress, but they were yet to to firm up the progress we started, the process of reaching out to the leaders. The talks are fruitful but not concluded. We pray for unity and reconciliation, the bishop said. He said political tension is not good for the country. The team hopes to rope in more leaders. And I agree with that part. Political tension is not good for the country, because when there's a lot of political tension, you even wonder, do I, as an investor, do I come in and invest in Kenya right now, or do I bargain and wait and see how these political dynamics will work themselves out, or wait after elections? So heighten political activities in a country as much as we are growing democracy and it is encouraged. But on the other hand, it does not work well, especially when businesses are concerned, or investor confidence, people who are looking to come in and do something, or just even our local investors here. You don't know, should I put my money here? Will it be a bigger risk, or do I wait first for 2022 elections to pass and then things have settled down and then now we can see the way forward, or what should I do? So it's not very good. Yeah, and of course we have the freedom of speech, the freedom of expression, the freedom of all of that. It is part of our constitution and it is our democracy, and we embrace all of that. But also, there's a time for everything, and too much politicking has never been good for a country, and also it just flares up tension. So I agree with the bishops on this part, that political tension is not good for the country, and that we've seen to be true. But during last Saturday's National Prayer Day at State House, Kenyatta and Ruto hardly exchanged glances. And that was, it was painful to watch, it quite uncomfortable. I can imagine, even for both leaders. And then the way they even sat, and the way the First Lady, Margaret Kenyatta, sat, I think as a buffer. I don't know, that was just me imagining things. But you could tell, and even the sitting arrangement was out of order. But hey, they had to do, and I think it's a good thing that both of them were there. And we saw President Uhuru Kenyatta coming out and asking for forgiveness for whoever and whomever he might have wronged. And also he said he has forgiven those who have wronged him. But, and then the next day, of course, our Deputy President also gave a similar, appeal. So it's quite interesting there. So since Saturday, activities have intensified, with night meetings led by a cabinet secretary from the Rift Valley and the religious leader seeking ways to reconciling the two. By the end of the week, a meeting was held by the leaders on Sunday night. And the following morning, the DP left the city for Sugoi to meet Nyanza clergy. On Monday afternoon, he flew back to Nairobi and met the bishops and went to a private meeting. It is not clear what they agreed upon. So all of that, I'll not get too much into it, because Dr. Matsanga shall be coming and we shall be looking at that part of I think that formed the basis of our topic of the day. So I'm just looking at the newspaper headline, and that was part of the headline we had on the Standard newspaper. And on page 4 there, it says, no September funds as counties receive 52 billion Kenya shillings. Cash-starved county governments can now breathe a sign of relief after the National Treasury released outstanding 52.2 billion Kenya shillings to cover the first 2 months of 2020-2021 financial year. So I think that is also some good news. And also, President appoints ex-IEBC boss Kenya's first data commission. Her name is Immaculate Kasait. All right. And then Sudi grilled over link to NHIF. All right. I watched this story yesterday, and it was a bit confusing for me. But let's just read it and see what's really happening there. Sudi seems to be in another trouble there with the law. And Kapseret, Member of Parliament, I'm reading from page 4 of the Standard newspaper in case you're wondering. Kapseret Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi was yesterday questioned by the police over a multi-million shilling land transaction that has linked to a National Hospital Insurance Fund fraudulent deal. And there's still a case. Directors there and the leadership of NHI is still in court. So Sudi's name is being mentioned here over, I think, some scandal that has to do with that. And the lawmaker appeared before detectives from the Serious Crimes Unit investigating claims of fraud at the NHIF, and detectives say they had trailed part of the money to the MP. Alrighty now. Now he is here to assist with investigations on allegations of public money fraud relating to NHIF. That was according to Director of Criminal Investigations George Kinoti, and said without elaborating. So he did not get into the details of it. Mr. Sudi said the probe was about a property he sold in Eldoret town to a company that wanted to build a hospital. And the MPs react. This is what he said. The transaction between me and the said company was completed after I received the money. They are now alleging that the money was wired from NHIF through the company to me. He wrote on his social media account, as a willing seller, I cannot smell the source of the money and that I received. He said he was going to sell a piece of land, and this company came and transferred the money to his account, so he has no way to know where that money was coming in. That is what Oscar Sudi was saying yesterday. So he said he was a willing seller, and so the willing buyer wired the money or bought the money or put the money in his account. So he has no way of smelling what source. He has no way of detecting this money is from NHIF or this money is from whatever. So that is what he's saying. And detectives say the investigations were at an advanced stage, and the file will soon be presented to the Directorate of Public Prosecution. So let's just wait for that case and see how that will play out there. For Member of Parliament of Kapsaret, Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi, who we know has been not been on a very good side of the law the recent past, and also had teachers record 90% turnout of Form 4 candidates. Not too bad. We need to find out what happened to the rest so that they're able to join back and go back to school. And all right, nothing much there on the front pages there of this Standard newspaper. So let's look at the Star. Remember, this is Breakfast with Dr. Matsanga. He shall be joining me in a very short bit. I'm just taking us through the news-making headlines, the leading newspapers in Kenya this morning. And so we've looked at the Daily Nation, and also we've looked at the Standard newspaper. And I see Professor is about to join us, so perhaps he can help me out and the rest of the show as we wait for Dr. Matsanga to join us. Professor, I don't know if you've settled down and you can hear me this morning. A very good morning to you, even as we wait to have you there. Good morning, Professor. Professor, good morning. Professor? All right. Okay, he's still working out and settling down there. He'll join me, and I'd like to hear his thoughts over some of those stories that we've gone through. All right, on the Star newspaper this morning, frantic new bid to end DP Ruto and Kenyatta feud. So this is actually a thing that is going on. It is on the Standard newspaper to reconcile, and also now on the Star newspaper, the same story. Religious leaders have met the two separately for talks on ending warfare. All right, very well. Professor, good morning.
Good morning, Miriam.
All right, how are you today?
I'm challenged, but let's see how far we go.
All right, we apologize for that. Professor seems to be having a bit of a challenge there with his signal, but we shall try and see if he can be able to join us. So I was looking at the Star newspaper there, and the front pages says, frantic new bid to end a DP Ruto and Kenyatta feud. Religious leaders have met the two separately for talks on ending the warfare. Where do you see this going?
Yeah, Miriam, that's what we said yesterday, and that's what we have been saying, that a peaceful Kenya is good for everyone. And it is good that the leaders have come in, and those people want to make people have a good working relationship is fine. But they should be able to speak the truth and call a spade and not a big spoon. The people are the one who have been fueling this animosity, because they know very well that the president has said that this is the time for working. And this is the same time the same people are trying now to read the reconciliation, are calling him to the church, making not to comply with all the protocols as given by the Minister for Health. But let's hope that they will be able to pinpoint the areas where they are not able to agree, because the president is after is for Big Four agenda and the rest, and the other one is 2022. I don't know how they are going to reconcile, but I hope they are going to ask the deputy president to go slow in his campaigns, area campaigns, because there's no way the president is going to stop in focusing his legacy and the Big Four agenda to simply start area campaigns. Mm-hmm. So let us say that the effort which has been initiated will be able to bring a good working harmony between the president and the deputy president.
Mm-hmm. So, assuming these talks are the way the newspapers are reporting this morning about the religious leaders trying to bring a truce between president and his vice president, then perhaps they might have to go back to the point of departure where these two leaders seems to have parted ways, which would have been after the handshake that President Uhuru Kenyatta had with former Prime Minister Raila Odinga there. And I don't think President Uhuru Kenyatta would be willing to change that because his deputy still has a problem with that. So how would you like the religious leaders to address that matter?
Yeah. Fine. I have addressed that one to rivers, and that's you want to live in a remember in 2017 disputed presidential elections, which was notified by the Supreme Court. The country was heading to a terrible situation. People were having an imaginary on how to see it from being Kenya. So when they came together, Miriam, they identified some of the issues which are setting us apart. One of the issues, Miriam, is corruption. The deputy of the president, one of them embraces corruptions. We have been seeing that the people who have been accused in corruption, who gives the money for bail. So Miriam, this is day and night, because Miriam, we have to fix corruption in this country, and I hope the men of the cloth should be brave enough to identify the 9 agenda of PPI, Building Bridges Initiative, Miriam. So if they do that one, fine. And if I were the deputy president and if he listens to me, I will always tell him that Miriam, he has to choose between two. And he become the president for this country, or he goes and he is forgotten, or he takes Daniel Arap Moi way of humility. Regardless of what happens to you, you will have an opportunity to fight another day. Mm-hmm. But comparative politics, Miriam, disobedience, defiance will not take you anywhere. And I hope, Miriam, if I could have been able to be given that opportunity to reconcile and bring and mediate, I will be able to go to the core issues. What makes them disagree? So, Miriam, a mere handshake, as you are trying to allude, will not make people just to there is more than that. There's something which the handshake did, which people were enjoying, and it interfered with their relationship.
With the matrix on the other side. So before we continue with that, because that happens to be our topic of the day today, there's a story I did earlier, Professor, before you joined, and that was of Kapseret Member of Parliament, Oscar Sudi, who yesterday was questioned by the police over a multi-million shilling land transaction that has been linked to a National Hospital Insurance Fund fraudulent deal. I don't know if you were able to watch that in the news yesterday, but
I did.
Yes, what do you make of that? Because we know there's still a case in the Kenyan court about the NHIF and the money that the stolen money. Let's not even say misused, because the money, a lot of it has been stolen. All right, what do you make of that?
Miriam, let me just have this to tell you that if you have been to school properly, you have been educated, education is supposed to make you humble. And if you have been to school and you find yourself that you are not humble, you examine your kind of education you get. Miriam, if you get some money, if you become rich, Miriam, you are supposed to be humble. But sometimes money can make you arrogant. can make you see anybody. You can make you address the first lady as if it's a small girl. Can make you address the president as if it's your equal, because you think now what don't I have? What don't I have? So Miriam, in a situation like that, and you know you live in a glass house, do you throw stones?
Mm-hmm.
What will happen to you in the night when there will be terrible wind? So Miriam, very unfortunate. Miriam, Sudi said, come on, baby, and the baby is coming on. And Miriam, you know how I detest corruption. And it should not, people should not wait until you start shouting and then they come for you. Let people come for you in good times and bad times. So Miriam, if he went to NHIF to take 150 million, and you know Miriam, that money could have saved lives of Kenyans, let the law take its course and let them do investigation properly and be charged in a competent court of law, and then he will answer.
Mm-hmm. And one of our
corruption, I'm not with you, Miriam, even if you're my daughter, my parent, my brother, my sister.
That's where we part ways.
I'm not with you.
Mm-hmm. One of our viewers here is saying, Miriam, the wife of Oscar Sudi, is working in NHIF. Guess what? She's the one who procured the deal. That is not my sentiments. This is one of our viewers here who's saying that.
Saying what?
That the wife of Oscar Sudi is working at NHIF, and he's saying, guess what? She's the one who procured that deal. So the wife of Oscar Sudi, the Kapseret Member of Parliament, works at NHIF, apparently, according to one of our viewers here.
You know, let me tell you, I listened, I looked at the two cars, which was standing, the Lexus and the other car, I don't know whether it was Labrador.
It was a Range Rover. Was it a Range Rover?
That he sold land to buy those two vehicles. But there was no land which was sold, Miriam. So it goes without saying the allegation that the 150 million proceeds were used to buy this one. Let us wait and see the investigation. But now you can see the crew. You can see the connection now. But Miriam, this is what I say that, and I'm against this. If you are a family member and you want to indulge yourself in corruption, do it yourself. Don't bring your husband. Don't bring your wife. Don't bring your children.
Yeah. All right. Yes, absolutely. And we've seen a lot of cases, especially involving our politicians here. You see the whole family is embroiled in corruption, and it has been a shame. The cases we see right now are in the courts, that of Obado, the governor there for Migori, that of Waititu, who was impeached, former governor for Kiambu. We see even, I mean, it's quite unfortunate. So, of course, that case is being investigated. Yes, the list is endless. It's a very shameful list there. Of course, these cases are in court, and this case by involving Kapseret Member of Parliament is being investigated, so we'll not even get too much into it. But coming back, Professor, and speaking about, even as you wait for a doctor to join us, what kind of reconciliation does one want? That is our topic of the day today. As we look at the referendum and the frantic, now we're learning there's been a frantic new bid to end DP Ruto and Kenyatta feud, and we've seen the religious leaders leading and a few politicians, we are told, and one CS, I think from the Rift Valley, who's trying to make sure that this friendship comes back, and there's a good working relationship between President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto. And I think the key thing there, that also we are looking at points of departure by President and his deputy, corruption. And we saw in the wake of the scandal at KEMSA, where the DP was very happy for the first time. His name was not being mentioned on corruption, and he literally distanced himself. He did not sound like he was part of that government that had to deal with this problem and find a solution and give confidence to Kenyans. He was just happy, that government over there is being mentioned now in corruption, and I'm just over here, and thank God my name is not involved in that. That was quite a huge statement there that Deputy President made about the same government he's supposed to be part of. That was being accused. And then we saw after the investigations were being carried out, all of a sudden there were So there has been some quietness. I don't see anybody making noise again about about KEMSA, which is quite interesting. So corruption, how can they reconcile the war against corruption, a president and his deputy? We know they're already not reading from the same script. Is it easy to have them read from the front page when it comes to corruption?
Miriam, all the guys who were under YK, if you take a stock of those characters in this country, are very mischievous characters. And I don't know what kind of training they went. Very mischievous, very fraudster, trickster. Even if we go to the deputy president, Miriam, before 2013, our deputy president did not have the kind of money, yes. Where did this money? I don't know whether manna started dropping from heaven like manna. So Miriam, if you hear a whole deputy president of a country who have been elected the same ticket with the president, saying now COVID man, I'm not there. So Miriam, he was giving admission that in other scandal he was there. On this one, he was not there. Then it goes without saying that the money he has been getting from the other scandals. But that's very unfortunate. Miriam, what I know, and I'm very sure that the president and the prime minister, the 9-point agenda, and when they identified corruption, on the side of corruption, the president means well. You have seen him not once, not twice, ensuring that some of his closest ministers and the principal secretaries being asked to step aside and being charged in a court of law, especially in the history of this country, having a minister for finance, the CS for finance being charged in a court of law. Miriam, that one sends a statement. And I know in terms of intelligence, Miriam, I only give analysis and I look at the events and then try to connect the pieces. But in terms of intelligence of the country, the president is more briefed, and he knows that if the point of departure between him and his deputy president was corruption, I'm not seeing them reconciling.
And one of our viewers here, Samuel Lay, you're asking me to read your comment. Okay, let me read that. You're saying a vice president must assist the president. A legacy for president is also a vice president's legacy. When both leaders work hand in hand, the vice president would have a chance to win the next elections. That is quite to the point.
No, that's the president. Thank you for that few of ours. Miriam, if the president wants to leave a legacy, what kind of legacy does our deputy president want to leave? The president wants to leave a united Kenya. Realize his Big Four agenda. When the deputy president, we are going to take us for 10 years. He was going around giving wheelbarrows and for 10. Why can't let me tell you why I find a lot of hypocrisy for the deputy president and the members of parliament. Miriam, they have got an opportunity to come up with a policy and register it and make into law. Remember, Miriam, CDF, I like you saying Constitutional Development Fund, National Constitutional Development Fund. It was initiated by Engineer Karue, who was the member for the Karau, and the money started trickling to the ground. Miriam, if he wants to empower the most vulnerable, because I will never call a child of someone a hustler. Listen, I will never call a child of someone a thief. Ma'am, I cannot, but I can say that people who are challenged in life economically, who are vulnerable, why don't you come with a policy? Miriam, see, like the time for COVID, the government came up with cash transfers so that it cushions those people who are vulnerable in our society. Why don't the deputy president, with his members of parliament, come with policies, come out with registration, come into law on how we can be able to cushion the most vulnerable people, so that we can be able to increase even youth enterprise fund. That's how you change the nation, Miriam.
All right, very well, thank you. And I see a doctor has joined us. Doctor, very good morning to you and welcome. We're already on the topic, what kind of reconciliation does one want? And we've trying to see the points of departure between President Kenyatta and his deputy, one of them being the handshake, corruption, and we're just trying to find out, should at all, I don't know, Professor, this religious leaders, do you think somebody perhaps has sent them? I don't know. I'm just trying to think outside the box here. But doctor, good morning and welcome.
Thank you very much. Miriam, it is sad that you go in somebody's house, you find a father looking after a family. You are the youngest person in the family. You go and start insulting everybody in the family and beating them up, even opposing your father, the father. And then later on, the same guys who work with you corruptly getting money at night from you, come back in the morning to say, Father, you are the father of the house. We want you to sit down and talk to one of your sons, or we shall take a message to your father to talk to you. Miriam, you want me to say the truth? That's a situation which Ruto has put Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to. That's where we are. The guy went out, spoiled the legacy. The guy went out, did not listen to the advice of the president. When the DCI were arresting thieves, he went and said, the DCI are not doing a good job. When the money got lost, he said, no, it was not that money. It was this money, but we have never recovered that money. Every thief in Jerusalem is running to Kaisai, or what the chief priest was called who?
You mean Caesar? Or Caiaphas? Is it Caiaphas of Caesar?
Caiaphas.
Okay.
If there are all thieves in Jerusalem running to Caiaphas for protection, Caiaphas is against the state, is part of the situation that wants to kill Jesus. You expected Jesus to go and talk to Caiaphas. Did you see anywhere where Jesus talked to Caiaphas? Onyali, you read the Bible every night and every moment. No. Even this morning you must have read.
No.
And you are a champion of treating the souls. Show me in the Bible where Jesus wanted to meet Caiaphas. Apart from Jesus getting a whip, throwing out, I am not opposed to. If the president wants to talk to Ruto, I have no problem. They are Kenyans. But what are you talking about when Maraga and Harvey have all sat down, one wing? Are you going to talk to all these people? Then let the president talk to Harvey. Let the president talk to Maraga. Call Maraga to State House. Your Excellency, call them. You Kenyans are not seeing where you are going. Do you really see where you are going? Professor Okama and Miriam Ogutu, do you really know where you are going?
I have given my opinion, and it is not contrary to what you are trying to say. It is all the same.
No, let me finish then. Do you really see where you are going? This guy has already spoiled this country. Ruto has destroyed this country. This country cannot be the same anymore. And those people who are trying to run around at night, they have lacked what to do. What rubbish. They have lacked what to do. That they are negotiating with Uhuru. Uhuru is the president of the Republic of Kenya. Either Uhuru decides to make a stand and tell the deputy president to shoot. That's it. What negotiations do you want? You are head of state. How do you negotiate with a man who has made the country bleed? Walai ya Mungu hakuna hiyo. Let others listen, but not Matsanga. I'm sorry. I'll go home. Huyu mtu ameharibu mwenzi yake. Anaharibu legacy ya Uhuru. He has destroyed Uhuru. He has belittled Uhuru. The MPs who are insulting Uhuru in front of Ruto, how many of them? Does Ruto call them to order? Does Ruto call them to order? It is up to the president to decide. It's up to him, not me. But I'm telling you my truth. Ruto is not reconcilable. You can reconcile a commodity that can be sold, but you can't sell a commodity that is sour. I did conflict resolution. Tell me which basis you want to begin to reconcile. Show me one aspect of reconciliation. That what? That Canelo will come back from the grave. Canelo will come back. The sergeant who was killed because of the arms. And then a whole deputy comes up and says, yes, my office is used by very many people. So, muendelee. This is your country, it's not mine. It's up to you. The bishops who go and collect money at night, and there are several bishops coming to say they want to negotiate. Wanda, what type of people are these? Mr. President, these people are the same ones collecting money, looted money, corrupted money. Then mnaniambia what type of reconciliation that you can reconcile, but where? Will you reconcile with a man who has an agenda that he can even topple you now? In Ruto's mind, he wants to topple Uhuru Kenyatta and take over power before 2022. That's what he wanted. He told Maraga to do. Mwache! What? Shut up! Shut up! I'm upset. What type of people are these? What type of system is this, man? You are discussing with a man who has told Maraga and Hafe, who pays Hafe to go and dismantle parliament. And you are telling me you want to negotiate. I'm a peacemaker. But a man who has not repented, who has not respected the president, what type of man is this? You are causing more confusion. MPs should come back and censor this guy. What President Uhuru Kenyatta should be looking for are 240 MPs to pass a vote of no confidence in this guy here. This guy is not sellable. Mlikuwa mnataka ya haki sio Miriam na wewe Okema. Mupate hiyo kutoka kwangu. Professor Okema, that's my stand. The sale date of this man is over in Jubilee Party and the relationship with Uhuru. If Uhuru wants to keep this country clean, straight, united, let this guy go on his own, be in opposition, campaign, and do what he wants. But to get an old sour grape wine, put it on a man who has not, the guy who is a president, and you put a man who has been insulting the president on the president. How are you going to sit? When you see Moses Kuria, up to this morning, they are saying they had a hustle movement, sending photographs on social media. Nyonye wa Kenya mniambie. Tell me. I'm ready to hear that you are, what are you trying to do? This guy has already damaged the president. He has damaged the legacy. Look at what his loudmouth Murkomen is saying. What does he write? What Murkomen writes is what Ruto says. When you hear Murkomen on Twitter, I am the one facing insults on Twitter because I try to defend the president and the legacy. How many insults do I get each week? 20,000. If they were to kill me, they would have killed me. But you know why? They insult me because I speak and I hurt them. You know what? I speak and I hurt them. I am now speaking and hurting Ruto and the group. These are very wrong people. Reconciling them with the president, Mr. President, you will weaken your resolve. You have the power, you have the sword. The sword was not shared between you and Ruto. The sword was given to you. Or maybe you have given a half to Ruto to keep in his house. Tell Kenyans, watu wanakaa kwa ofisi wanasema, Maraga, you trigger. Your Excellency, listen to me. This guy is sat down and said, Maraga, you go and trigger an adversary. No. This guy, to finish him, as soon as the adversary note is in court, give the parliament 21 days. If they don't do it, move and make sure that the government is not workable. And that is the situation which is now very clear, Miriam. If you allow it to go on like this, Maraga has finished us. Read my thoughts of today, this morning. Did you read them, Miriam? Have you seen what I've told you? They finished this system. They arranged to finish it, to collapse Uhuru Kenyatta, including Deputy President Ruto was part of the scheme to collapse Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And then you are telling me he should read that it's church leaders. How wanakosa kitu ya kufanya? These are people who drink wine and every day with us in the nightclubs. Wanakunywa wine na sisi. Wanasema they are church leaders. Church leaders what? I am very hurt because of I love the president. I like the way he does it. I like his Pan-African zeal. I will not be talking. I will just keep quiet. And those some bishops, those ones, they are the ones who even said Uhuru should be sentenced. Shut up! Shut up! You went and told Uhuru that Uhuru should be sentenced to the Hague. You are running there that you are bishop what? Bishop what? You wanted Uhuru to be sentenced, to be locked up. Now you are running there. You run this way, you pick money at night. Then you come in the morning. You are going to spoil your country.
Doctor, have they been sent, these bishops?
The what?
Could there be a possibility they've been sent on this mission?
Yes. To scatter Raila Odinga and Nani's handshake. Nyenye muone hii. Mtu alikwambia hataki handshake. Mtu anakuambia I will vote out. Mtu aliambia MPs wake wanatukana president kila siku. Let me be a lone ranger. I don't mind. I'm a foreigner. I will go home. Unatukana president every day. You collect men and pay them money to insult the president. Utoto ujinga gani hii? Rubbish. Hiyo ujinga wacha. I'm a soldier. I cannot listen to this crap. Nyenye mwaribu nchi yenyu kama mnataka. Mwaribu. Some of us came in to help you. I stood in the middle. The people lining up. The people lining up with Ruto were the ones telling Ruto to go to jail. To be sentenced for life. If there was double life, they wanted double life. Today Mudama is opening up his mouth. Mudama, that he called the smuggler, drug smuggler from Machakos. Look at them. Mnakuja hapa mnasema you are talking. This country is going in chaos, in a wrong direction, Mr. President. Mungine ya Machakos is in Nyeri, spreading gossip. If he cannot even build the Dubai city that he wants to become a president, if you cannot build a city that you promised people on diagrams, shut up! I don't like a home where to go. I can go. Tunafikanisha hapo sasa. Inatide go reconciliation ya nini? President alifanya nini? President alifanya makosa gani? Uhuru alifanya makosa gani? You reconcile with a man who went out to collect MPs, about 60 MPs, to be insulting the president every morning. Mniambie makosa gani alifanya? Uhuru alifanya makosa gani mniambie? Uhuru ana damu kweli? Uhuru does not have a damu. Una konsaya na mtu mwizi, anaiba kila kitu. Kila kitu ameiba. Pesa ziko kwake, anagawia watu. And he shows us the money when his salary is well known. Nyanye sasa mniambie, what type of country is this man? The ordinary Kenyans are suffering. You are dishing out to the money, calling them, come and pick a wheelbarrow, when you stole their money to make their development. Every parastatal in this body, in this country, everything, there is someone who was planted there who gave millions. They don't want to touch that. Why do you... Wacha niulize, prayers are only in Mount Elgon. Are prayers only in Mount Kenya? Why don't you build a bridge in Sungoi? A kanisa? Why can't you pray there every day? Why do you make a Rambezi in Mount Kenya? The people of Rift Valley want mountains. They want also prayers. They want you to go and give them food. Why are you concentrating in your friend's backyard? Mseme I should not talk. Nyenye kama mnagopa mimi sema. Sina shida. Chukule kwa mtu. Hata watoto wangu wako wakubwa. Wachana na hii stupidity. Every time you are in Mount Kenya, Central, why don't you do? Have you built a church? Which church have you built which has destroyed? Which was destroyed? Which one? There are people looking at their farms. Watu wanaangalia farm zao, wanapita na matatu paka Malaba, wanaangalia watu wako kwa farm. They are cooking food. You call this? What is it that you people want? There are people here still sleeping in boys' quarters in Nairobi. When they had 50 acres, they have their houses. You have not returned that land. Is this not facts, Professor Kama? Are these not facts? Are these not facts, Miriam? Tena mnasema bishops, the same bishops that pick money at night. Wanasema wanataka kufanya ni peace talks. Wanaenda huko, unaenda wapi? Mnaiba usiku, mnataka kufanya peace talk. What the hell? What system is this? Who is allowing this? Who is not protecting the president? Who is not protecting the president? Reconciliation comes from a man who has remorsefully said, I'm sorry. But reconciliation cannot come from a man who is a bravagado, always jumping, bumping, with Turkish shirts and suits and some coats around here. Some of us don't wear those type of things. Watch out! At night, the guy is telling people that don't worry. At night, you think we don't hear? Maraga came and destroyed the country. He has run off for a holiday. He's waiting for bloodshed. Harvey is doing the job. Who pays Harvey? Who pays Harvey? Where does Harvey get the money? Harvey, every morning. Whose office does Harvey go to? Whose home does Harvey go to? State House on the top of the hill. Does Harvey go there? He goes to that house to collect money, to come and disrupt this state of Kenya. In 2008, if I did not come out to be called names, I stood single-handedly with Koinange. And I was saying Ocampo was wrong. So I thought he wanted to kill me. Because of that, Mutula wanted to kill me because I was saying the truth. They wanted me killed. Removed from here. Because I was saying the truth. But because I'm telling from an experience. They had no experience. What experience do they have? The world was my age. Is this Mutula Kilonzo here, Junior? Not my age, my daughter's age? Rubbish. Who's going to protect the president, Jamen? Muta naiba kila kitu. Unawacha wizi, bado. The CID, the DCI want to do their work, you stop them. You threaten them. You tell them that they are profiling. These cases die every day. Someone has brought crying publicity, cheap buying the sympathy vote. Mimi, I am being harassed. I am being harassed. Raila came out and shook the hand with President Uhuru Kenyatta. That was a symbol of unity. We should build that unity from there. But we should not disintegrate the unity by backing someone who has collected 60 MPs of Jubilee Party, moving with them, buying with them, collecting money from a friendly country across the bridge every day. They are being brought in this country to destabilize Uhuru Kenyatta. Who doesn't know? He thinks people don't know. Hepo, 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 hepo. Some of us have been around in these activities for a long time. Even the children that we grew up who are 30, 40, some of them are generals. Where? Hey, whoa! Everything is known, whoa! So don't, maybe that's your state, mfanye. I am now said my mind, sindio Okama. Akama. Professor. I'm not born here. I'm Paul in Judea. I've finished my words. If I'm wrong, forgive me. But I've told you, we are heading in a wrong direction. Mr. President, the people coming to you to talk are the same people who are picking money, looted money, money laundered coming back from some state. All those records, I have them. I don't speak without facts. Chunga, your threats zako unafanya huko, unafuambia watu threats na mtu yako ikibeti huyo. Wewe, nyenye, mna threaten watu. We know all this. You want to dismember this country. Where shall we go in Africa? Where shall we go? Where will my people? I have 27 people doing M-Pesa in my clan. 27 Kikuyus. In my county called Bududa. In my home shopping center. They look after my mother. They said they will never come back here. Because of what happened to them in 2007 and 8. They are terrified to come back. 27 people. Is that not enough example for you people? And you tell me I should not speak. I should not speak. Aterere, you know you want me not to speak? When I have people whom I helped to pay their children, told the primary schools there to allow them, and the little man I had in London to go and give them to go to school, refugees. Kikuyu refugees from here, they are there in my clan. You don't want me to speak. Is that not painful enough? Someone who had the house, who had produced children in the house for 50 years, is living in a toilet in Nairobi. When the house is being used, renovated and being used by some people who took it just like that, they can't go back. Surely, and you want to start another war? God bless you.
Right.
Karanja, you are online. Miriam, do you hear Karanja?
Yes, I can hear what he's saying.
Karanja, go ahead, make your comments. That I am sorry, Akama, Miriam. I don't know what you talked before, but what I'm talking, if it is not rhyming with you, then I think I did not study the subject of conflict resolution. Go ahead, Karanja.
As a these are people who are hired to do so. And by doing that, they want to use the president and to portray a party like that. But the fact is that not enough. It's the president who is addressing the president's agenda. It's addressing the president who is addressing the unity of power and the inclusion of all Kenya through the handshake with the former president, right? Therefore, these people trying to be concerned where they do come. They should not avoid concerned the president. They should bring that solution to the president and all that they should not the president in order. And it is to him values and the fruit of the Holy Spirit, because I think he does not have those gifts of the Holy Spirit so that he can speak. But so that he can speak. The power and the unity that the president will be among these people are country. And I think you should understand, if this matter and the president and bishop who can not complain and pray who can understanding that this is God, then you understand the kind of matter and avoid for your decision. These are people who are there to see their stomach and that this is a real of thing and that the deputy president and it is still to come out bigger than the amount of knowledge to grow and the regret they are doing because they have been against the president of Kenya and they have failed the legitimate supporters and the president they have also failed better than that because they have sabotage the government agenda to control knowledge. And I think sometimes the same knowledge for understand when they sabotage the whole construction and they give you value and it shows that these people usually don't understand what the development is and that's why they are doing the outreach. They have a business very clear and this country needs to move on. And I think when they move the other should in the deputy president in 2012, when Kikuyu was trying but still nothing to support the permanent standard in their hand. Then President Kenyatta soon raise the people when he reconciled the deputy president in 2012 and they went to America and the deputy has passed his place. Therefore, the very couple who has known the president of the day, the deputy president, who will give them at that level of reconciliation and at that level of peace and the unity that is trying to have the former president in the name of Jesus. Therefore, all along, President Kenyatta is a man of peace, is a man who has unity. I think they should express your respect to President Kenyatta as a man who has brought disagreement and instituted legislation. Because when you reconcile two people, you reconcile people who are people who are in crisis. And this crisis that you have tried to portray as this created president to the president. Therefore, he is the only person who should follow in order and start supporting the president so that they can see they can appeal money and they can campaign at the end of the day for which the people of Kenya. And the next president should also understand that if he is elected and appeals the president who is better, that is not guaranteed to become president. I think that is what is strange because he thinks that the people of the president and that is something that they should understand that one president and a state.
Thank you very much, Karanja from Nanyuki, our correspondent of the legacy trend in Nanyuki. Thank you very much for those good words. Professor, back to you. Miriam, back to you, the studio. Me, I am pissed off. I'm sorry. That's it. I don't understand. Look here, Miriam, Maraga, Harvey, Ruto, they sit and they agree that you move a motion, you give an adversary. It is honestly. And they do these things in houses which are government houses. There's nothing that is done in darkness that does not come in light. Maraga issues without any interest of the public A constitution cannot be read without the interest of the public. You cannot interpret the constitution and release terrorists who have bunduki, who are going to kill people tomorrow because you are following the constitution. The guy arranges a holiday with his family and he disappears. Do you hear him anymore? Where? Have you seen Maraga anywhere? What was he waiting for? He was waiting for 10th for an explosion on the streets of Nairobi. Nothing came out. Okay? Have moves to the court, to the same Miriam. He moves to the parliament. He ends up sitting down and eating mandazi. I don't know which clan in Kakamega where Have comes from. Because that name, I have only seen it with one man in this whole of Kenya. I have not seen another Havi. So I am yet to find out whether he's not a grandson of Mabutu Sese Seko. Seko was a Banga, Mbanga wa Banga. You see, Professor Kama, you come from those sides. Have you seen another person in Kenya called Happy? Prof, we can't hear you. We cannot hear you. Professor, we can't hear you.
I'm saying I'm getting that name for the first time.
Karanja maybe Nanyuki. Do you hear of a man working somewhere in the Ministry of Water, Agriculture called Havi? This name is very strange. No, the entire continent of Africa, we have several Havis in DRC Congo. In Chifu province, Havi. We have 2 generals in the army in Congo called Havi. Because the guy does not act like a Kenyan, Miriam. How can a Kenyan call of in the middle of a pandemic want to dissolve a parliament? You must be a hired general from Katanga region. Okay, Miriam, back to you. Frantic F new bid to end DP Ruto Kenyatta feud. Is there a feud? Who caused the feud? Kenyatta didn't cause any feud. Where is the 21, not 21, but 70 billion? Where is it? It's buying wheelbarrows. Rotich is gone. They shared the money in Italian hotel. You remember those CCTVs when the deputy president flew in Italy? Italian intelligence brought all the CCTVs. So it's over. Jermaine, we poor people, let's die. Those who want to call themselves, the name, the National Cohesion has said, don't use this name, Hassler versus Dynasty. And the people are continuing to print in newspapers, posters about Hassler versus Dynasty. So why do you want to come? Let him renounce those type of things. Renounce the Hassler's tag. Then you can now tell the world that we are together as Kenyans. but you are continuing with your agenda. Then you want to talk in order to have police protection. No, go away. What the government should do now is to marshal 240 MPs. That's it. Shortcut, mtu akue nje. Na yeye aone how the tear gas can come on him. Without the protection of GSU. Sindio wanasema wako na numbers. Instead of begging someone, let there be a strategy. And I'm going to say it here, not me. I'm fed up of this, saying and things don't work. Let me say it. For the MPs of Kenya, cancel your recess. Come back to Parliament. Help President Uhuru Kenyatta to fight a regime changers. They are here. They are here. Mama, they are here. Mama, they are here. They have come, they are here. They are inside here. With a traitor, head of traitors, they are here. They are going to dismember Kenya, Mama. They are here. MPs, cancel it. Cancel recess and come back. And put Maraga on notice to retire with disgrace. Aende. Have you seen the type of quagmire politically Kenya has been put through? Have you seen Miriam? It's a catch-22. It's a hard rock, not only a hard rock, but a boiling rock. You know, if the rock is boiling, it's even worse. It's worse. Miriam, back to you.
All right. Thank you so much. I think we'll take a short break and we shall be back with our next show where we shall be looking on People's Court and we shall be looking at is the church, judiciary, NGOs accelerating hustler doctrine in Kenya. I think it will be a continuation of the topic that we've been having this morning, and so we shall delve into that, Doctor, and also something that you brought up there, even as the churches seek to bring together President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy, the issue of the outright disrespect from the person of deputy president towards his boss there. That is something that has to be talked about, and so we shall look at that and much more even as we come back on our next show. So if you may allow me, Doctor, we call it we take a break and then we come back in the next few minutes. All right, thank you so much, okay. Professor. We shall be back and complete. I know a lot of things that also we shall look at in the next show. So thank you so much. Don't go too far. We shall be back on top of the hour with People's Court. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Good morning.